is dash is dash is dash is dash is dash. What is dash? What is dash?
Hello there, time for another one of our video reviews. Today we're going to be taking into the new Hawthonn album, Earth Mirror, out on a Bada Bing. Let's get this on a turntable and get talking about it. Let's see, one moment. I'm going to turn it on first. Oops. Now, this is an album with a very quiet built-up intro, and I am not living in the void of space. So, maybe a little gap before you hear it begin. I'll be not helped by my neighbour drilling something. Perhaps we'll move this closer. It's an album that slowly fades in on you. I've got this little portable boo-boo at maximum volume. And the earth is shaking. No, it's a very subtle start. But often the best things do begin gently and with an increased build-up. So this track's called Drowned Light. And I have a vinyl copy. I purchased it straight from the label. When I went to check the album out on Bandcamp, it really did just take listening to this track's progression to go, yeah, I'm sold. I love Hawthorne's last album. I knew I probably could have just emailed them nicely saying could I have a download for review please. But with it being an American label, but a Yorkshire act, I knew it meant that I could pay very cheap shipping to get some Yorkshire vinyl out here in Arizona. And this back cover photo really takes me home to that kind of beautifully bleak landscape that I so adore. Although we've got plenty of bleakness over here, trust me. Now, what struck me about this album is it felt even more stripped down than the last one, the Red Goddess album, which I think there've been releases in between, more kind of, I think this is the official follow-up. It's the next one anyway, Bada Bing. And there's this very, very lovely organ sound on it that builds up in there. It's one of the course that you buy on Bandcamp, right? But you can experience the album in a lot of different ways. With the Bandcamp, you listen to it on your headphones streaming off the app. But then, while I was waiting for this to arrive, I downloaded the full fat WAV files, popped them on a player, hooked them up to a big old system of huge wooden speakers, and that made it sound very, very celestial, very overwhelming experience. I suppose in these video reviews I don't play you the whole album, but it's very, very hard for me on this track to skip ahead. I love the way they've recorded Layla's vocal, the resonance. I was very upset that I couldn't go see them play Todmorden Unitarian Church, venue that I'm involved in myself and has an amazing sound quality, and I can only imagine how that must have sounded in a church. Really, really. I was a lucky bastard if you went there. And interesting bit of trivia for you. You see we've got this pencil drawn cover there. It's by John Gombert, who drums for Viber Cathedral Orchestra and sometimes Skullfire people. He's been doing these drawings for ages, and in fact he did the cover for Fall live at the Witch Trials. Another great kind of outsider Northern occult act with the Fall. I mean, Mark E. Smith was very into his occult. His side hustle was doing tarot readings, in the Manchester suburbs. This may not sound anything like the Fall, but it is part of that great northern tradition of dissent and non-conformism. And now I'm going to do the absolute blasphemy of picking up the needle and moving us further forward in time. Horrible behaviour, I know. I love the recording of the organ. Oh no, I just gone to the fade out. No, it jumps back. I've just put the needle in a completely inappropriate spot. Can you hear it fading back in? I hope so. I think the microphone on my phone is pretty cool. This is something that you definitely need to listen to without me yaffling on your own, in your perfect concentration setting, with the volume as loud as your neighbourhood will allow it, and it will absolutely floor you. Now, the takeaway from that magical build-up and climax there, but let's suffice to say, it is astounding. And we're going to jump in into the first phase, as I would call it, of Dream Cairn. And cairns have always fascinated me as a kid. My parents were never interested in anything supernatural or mysterious, but they'd love to go walking in places like the Lake District. And you see these huge piles of stones. And you go, what's that for? They go, oh, it's just left to help people guide the way. You'd be like, well, how did there spontaneously come to be a big pile of stones there? So this type of dream cairn hits that kind of weird memory, dead on. By the way, I'm not drinking a stout because I'm trying to save it off. So I'm actually drinking a stout for my dear friend Junzo, who's not doing too well at the moment, who loves a good drink of stout. So sending him best wishes for a good recovery. And I deliberately put it in towards the end of what I call phase 1. It shifts into this phase 2. It's that beautiful, beautiful voice, cut glass, but recorded so perfectly. And with all those other sounds, it's a grand sound. Always loved. I've never been a religious kind of a guy, but always been impressed by the incredible sonics of sacred spaces like churches, cathedrals. But always been more impressed personally in my heart by like the landscape and stuff. And Hawthonn to me evokes both of those. They capture the spirit of the landscape and then record it with the acoustic properties of a vast cathedral. And then in the mix, you've got like those strange electronic sounds, but much higher than the big dense organ sound and the beautiful echoing vocals. I've noticed a lot of Coil fans love Hawthonn, and they don't sound anything like Coil, but they have that mystery and awe and wonder and the whatever's going to happen next. I don't know how you say this. Odo Gals. It's a very contemplative track. It's 3 tracks each side. They've all got plenty of room to grow, breathe, develop, evolve, and very most of all to haunt. Now we're gonna go on over to side B. Oh, my foghorn is here. Yes, love. And now to side B. The first track on side B is Cat's Cradle. Named after that curious children's game. I always remember that. See the girls playing it, making this intricate web of thread between them, and it was like, well, cats don't have cradles. What is the real significance of that? Why are you all playing it? What a strange sixth-form college that was. Here now we're entering a more gentle ambient zone of it. The album has its moments of very fragile quietness. Production is quite robust, quite loud and tough, so when things happen, they really fill your room, and when those quiet moments, they don't. Sir, who produced this? I think they did themselves. Wow. They went to their talents. I'm going to move it forward a teeny bit. Hear the beautiful vocal there. So far, most of the album has been like, vocal, electronics, and that big organ. And now we're just down to the vocal and the electronics. But what's fascinating about his production style, the mix, is the way that her voice has been recorded with this huge room resonance. And then these very intimate electronics and that they've been, made on a computer, are put higher in the mix. So they're very loud, and their big sonorous echoing voice is put down lower. So as if you're in the room, the voice is like a ghost, and then the computers are louder. Uh-oh, Squeaky Toy was not on the record. That was Bertie Doodle with his Beetlejuice toy. It's a little wilder towards the end, but it's still fragile wild. So the organ, it's a more old-fashioned kind of keyboard going on there. Now, the longest song on side B is Circles of Light, and I'm going to plop us in about halfway. I'm trying to the transition point in it, and I'm trying to get it before the transition point. Ignore the drilling, if you can hear that or not, that's a neighbour. Let's get this louder. And I think I know what Layla's vocal style reminds me of. Whenever you watched a spooky kid show, the 70s and 80s, and by the way, those 70s, 80s spooky kid shows I think are far more effective than horror films. Like, my oldest son, we've shown him a few horror films, and he'll watch them on occasion, make him jump. But he's okay with them now. But still 70s and 80s kid shows, just can't quite cope. It's just they're creepy in a way that horror films never quite manage usually. And that's what her vocal style reminds me of. One of those shows they wanted to depict a ghost. Here we are, I've got more instrumentation coming in here on this bit, that's why I picked this part. You can hear what I think is a guitar. Very big fat keyboard sound. The Light is definitely haunting. Now the last track on the album is V-E-H-I-E-L. V-E-H? I don't know. I'm not a great pronouncer. I'm more a reader than an orator. And you'll see that for that ending they're going for that very straight, and the organ is back. But they've really kind of dialed it back in. There's a kind of hum, a kind of strange static sound, a little higher in the mix, but very subtle sound. Or at least that's the way it seems to me. I'm not a producer, I'm a listener. And kind of like the end of side A, it's veering very closely into classical here. It'd be a great band to have do a soundtrack. You know, Mark Gatiss should get him to do the next Ghost Story for Christmas. Bring a whole extra layer of colour, I think, to the proceedings. So we're at the end of side B, so I guess I've got to think of a quick, snappy way to sum this up to you. It's an album that's beautiful, haunting, in a quite definitely supernatural sort of a way. Has a fascinatingly otherworldly sound. It's like it's got 1 foot in the studio, 1 foot somewhere else entirely. The ear for acoustics is exquisite, and it's also one of those albums that's like really short. You know, there's no you don't have a chance to get bored. It's like, you know, 3 songs on A, 3 songs on B. They're all kind of longer extended songs, but it's over, and you're left to wonder what actually happened. And I don't know, but I like it.